Yes, welcome to B&B's Football Happy Hour. We are back. We are bearded. We are always beautiful. I am Bobby, as always, with my man, Brian.
What's up, man? Glad to be back for what's this, episode 33.
Yes,
Hope
sir.
hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving with their families and watched a little football, minus one game.
Yeah, it actually was a little football. Normally we get those 3 games on Thanksgiving, but obviously COVID has ruined that, so we only ended up with 2. And some of us may have even been surrounded by less family and friends than we're used to, but look, we make it work.
Yep.
As always, our beats are provided by Dunson. And again, just like last week from here on out, we are brought to you by Diaper Dust. Check that out if you are a parent or know someone who has a parent or who has a child, in diapers. TheDiaperDust.com. It is a fantastic product that you just sprinkle in a soiled diaper and poof, there's no more bad smell. You can throw it away anywhere. You can leave it on your counter. You can do whatever you want with that diaper because it doesn't stink. Diaper Dust is a great product. I use it on my son or with my son every single day. Check it out on Facebook, on Instagram, or at thediaperdust.com.
Yeah, man. We'll have to post it to our Facebook page so people can check it out.
Ooh, absolutely. Good call.
Put it on the page.
So before we break down some of these games, Brian, the quarterback position is very intriguing to me. 2 weeks ago, they're down. Last week, they're up. And this week, the quarterback as a whole, they are down again. Only 6 quarterbacks this week scored 20 or more points. Now, I know we're supposed to have maybe one more game. The Steelers and the Ravens are supposed to play each other. I don't know about you, but I do not anticipate RG3 getting 20 points here in this game. Perhaps Big Ben, if the game is even played. But the last time that this season that there were only 6 quarterbacks score 20 or more points in a week was never. This is it. This week had the fewest quarterbacks score 20 or more fantasy points. Why? I mean, what's going on here with these QBs, Brian?
Yeah, man, I have no idea. It seems like, man, I don't know, every week, like you said, it's just up and down. I know Kyler's had a couple bad weeks. I own him on a few teams, and he just doesn't look like himself over the last couple weeks. And it's just tough.
Derek Carr was in a prime spot, and obviously we'll talk about that matchup against the Falcons a little later. But, I mean, come on, dude, would you get 1.6 points or something against one of the worst defenses in the league? It's embarrassing.
I was going to say I was pretty high on Derek Carr and some of my daily stuff because of
everyone was.
I thought that was like a steal down there. I kept scrolling down on my daily, and I was like, oh, I can get Derek Carr for a pretty good deal. And then, I think he might have got like 2.3 points or something like that on DraftKings. So, yeah, that's not going to help you win any games no matter how many guys you got that go off. So
you got that right. Another idea that hit me this week is just a reminder to stream defenses. Unless you end up with one of the top 3 squads in the league, just stream your defense every week. This week in particular, half of the top 12 scoring defenses were or are currently owned in less than 40% of Yahoo leagues. Yeah, half of them. So, I mean, the Falcons are a high-scoring defense this week with 28 points, I think it was, in my Yahoo leagues, and they're owned in exactly 1%. Only the players and family members of Atlanta Falcons owned the Atlanta's defense in fantasy. And, I mean, they were high-scoring defense of the week.
Yeah, that was a good call because, I streamed defenses, and I think this week I had I picked up the Saints D in one league, so they did pretty good against the old Denver debacle that they had that we'll talk about. And then I think I picked up the Seahawks in a couple leagues too, and they had 6 sacks last night against the Eagles. So pick and 6 sacks. So I mean, they got I think 11. So yeah, they're out there. Those points are out there.
Yeah. So let's just go right into Thanksgiving Day. While we were stuffing our faces with turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and gravy, the Houston Texans were taking on the Detroit Lions. And Texans get the win there 41-25. The biggest outcome of this game was your boy Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn are bye-bye. Yep. They each got kicked to the curb by the Detroit Lion organization. And dude, the players were happy. I don't know if you saw some of the comments on Twitter and everything, but current players and former players were all very excited and voicing their opinions on the firings of Patricia and Quinn, who were 13, 29, and 1 in their tenure together there in Detroit.
Tough.
Not a healthy circumstance there.
Yeah, it's never good when players come out, I guess, right after someone gets fired and loses their job and, talk about how bad they were or whatnot. Darius Slay on the Eagles, I know he had a problem with Patricia, apparently.
Good.
They kind of had an argument or whatever, I guess, when he first came in there, and I guess Slay didn't like that and whatnot. He got traded to the Eagles. But, yeah, I think Patricia will get another job, but not as a head coach. But, he'll probably go back to –
Agreed. You can't replicate
coordinator,
Bill Belichick. That's what they wanted. They wanted the Midwest Patriots, and it's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Did I tell you a crazy thing about this game, a crazy stat? The Lions had 26 more plays than the Texans, but they only averaged 5 yards a play. Houston averaged almost 8 yards a play. So even with so far fewer plays, the Texans were able to get after it. Deshaun Watson went 318 yards passing and 4 touchdowns, plus 24 rushing yards for you. And there were only 15 non-QB carries. Duke Johnson had 9 for a whopping 37 yards, but he did get you 3 catches for 43 yards and a nice touchdown grab. Will Fuller, wow.
Big game, but
gosh, if you're gonna get busted for PEDs and get suspended for the last 5 games of the season and the first game of next season, you might as well get 6 catches for 171 yards and 2 trips to the end zone. Brandon Cooks did his normal thing, 5 catches for 85 yards, and Kiki Kuti and CJ Prosise were the only others to catch a pass. Prosise was for a touchdown, but Kuti, you may want to, if you're hurting for a receiver, pick him up, because without Fuller, that makes Cooks number 1 receiver, and they don't really have a number 2. It's probably going to be Kuti.
Yeah, that's a good call there. He's probably definitely one of the top pickups, I would imagine, for this week, I guess, on your waiver wire, if you're looking for a flex or a receiver. But yeah, it's a pretty good game. I guess for teams that were a combined 10 and 20, you can't ask for much more than 66 points. So a little more points scored than I thought in this game. But Deshaun Watson, he's been doing pretty good. This guy's
he's looked great.
Been on pace lately. Yeah, 4 touchdowns.
Kicked out.
Yeah, 4 touchdowns, and I think Akins dropped 2 touchdowns. So this dude could have had 6 touchdowns. And then I thought Peterson – I was looking forward to seeing a little bit of DeAndre Swift. I don't watch Lions games every week, so I said, well, hey, it's Thanksgiving. The Lions will be on. I'm going to check out some DeAndre Swift. He doesn't play, and then it's the same old Peterson. But he looked okay. Scored 2 touchdowns. So
15 carries, 15 carries, 55 yards, 2 TDs. And then Kerryon Johnson, if because you didn't know which back to really go for there if you had to start one of them. But he didn't really disappoint. He only had 46 yards rushing, but he did have 4 catches for 52. Yeah. And TJ Hawkinson is really starting to look good. And hopefully the last couple games can be the start, and he can continue this trajectory for his whole career, because he's very talented, very athletic, and a good tight end. Marvin Jones squeaked out double-digit points for you in a PPR with 6 catches for 48 yards. And Mohamed Sanu caught a touchdown pass. Yeah. I didn't even know he played for the Lions, dude. I'll be honest. Yeah. When I saw that, I had no idea.
Yeah, when they said that, I thought the announcer had the wrong name, and then I looked and I was like, it really is him, because I had no idea. But yeah, I guess it was an okay game for the circumstances. I don't know. The Texans might be winning a few, too many games, and Romeo Crennel might actually become the coach. So.
I know.
I don't know. He's making a tough argument, man. And I don't know. He's an okay coach, but I don't know if that's the direction that they want to go. But he's going to make his case now, though.
Is it that he's a good coach, or is it that the players are just so excited that Bill O'Brien's gone that they're just playing loose and playing excited?
That's probably it. And then he's going to get a job.
Romeo Crennel's like 80 years old. You can't hire him to be your head coach. This isn't baseball. And was it the White Sox with 82-year-old Tony La Russa? You can't do that right now. There are quality coaches out there. We just talked about what Brian Dable, the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills last week. Lincoln Riley, he's going to get some looks, the head coach of Oklahoma, if he feels like leaving. Yeah. There are options out there. Don't do an 80-year-old retread in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think that's the direction they want to go, but they got to stop scoring 41 points. So I don't know. I think Romeo's going to state his
I
case.
hear it, for sure.
Mm.
Next game on the docket for Thanksgiving Day, and the final game was the Washington football team took on the Dallas Cowboys. It was a 41-16 drubbing of the Cowboys. Quite embarrassing. Alex Smith threw for less than 150 yards, 149, a touchdown, and a pick. Only had 27 pass attempts versus 36 rushes as a team. So they ran the ball 9 times more than they threw it, and Antonio Gibson was the biggest beneficiary there. Biggest game of his career, easily so far. 20 carries, 115 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He also had 5 catches for 21 yards receiving. And I believe I heard them say on the broadcast that he's the first running back to hit 3 touchdowns on Thanksgiving Day since Barry Sanders did it, the greatest running back of all time, in my opinion, in 1997, I believe it was. Even Peyton Barber had 11 carries for 57 yards. And then Terry McLaurin, he's going to produce 7 catches for 92 yards. And Logan Thomas got you a touchdown with 4 catches and 20 yards.
Yeah, I think that's McLaurin's stat line pretty much every game. He gets you seven every week. It's the same thing. So, yeah, he continues to, get his points on this team. And, man, Antonio Gibson, he's surprising me because in the last couple of weeks, I think he's really become a big part of the offense, obviously. But, he's kind of stating his case, moving forward as being the guy there. And I think they found a good kid. He's good.
It's something we talked about just last week. My favorite part is he had 5 catches. They actually threw the ball to him and not so much to J.D. McKissic.
Yeah, so, if you're starting him, you're getting the rushing yards and the touchdowns, but you're getting, 5 extra points for the catches if it's PPR and then 21 yards. So you're getting 7 extra points right there, just on top of
absolutely
the 3 touchdowns on 20 attempts.
And think about how many fantasy games are lost by less than 7 points.
Yeah, for sure.
I probably lost, but I'm in 4 season-long leagues, and I would be willing to say between those 4 teams, I have suffered 6 or 7 losses by less than 2 points.
Yeah, every point matters.
It's insane.
He's getting them, and I think McKissic and those guys will play a little bit less because Gibson's the guy, and they just need to ride him, I think, till the end of the year, see what he's got, and he's been killing
it. They're going to win. The football team is my pick to win the division. I know that's a terrible division, but they have the best defense of any team in the division. They have a nice running back. Antonio Gibson looks good, and Alex Smith doesn't really screw up that much. So
I think
it's sad, but those qualities are what's going to help you win a division in the NFL today.
Yeah, right. He's probably the best. That's crazy that he's probably the best. I guess he is right now the best quarterback in the NFC East at this point with what they got going on.
He absolutely is.
But, yeah, he doesn't really – he's a game manager. He doesn't do anything to lose the game, and he don't do much to win it either. But he's out there slinging it 6 and 7 yards and checking down and doing his thing. But it's a great story. And
I'll take the win.
I'm sure if they win a division, he'll probably win comeback player of the year. They should name the trophy after him after all his
yeah, I heard somebody say that
situation.
Earlier.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. So, yeah, good for Alex Smith.
Now, the guys on the other side of the field, the Cowboys are just terrible, man. They really are. Every year, I don't understand. Every year they find a way to be, at best, mediocre. Andy Dalton, 215 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Zeke, what a disappointment he is. He got paid, and it's like he doesn't even want to try. He got that money, and that's it. It's like he's not as bad as Albert Hainsworth, who literally quit after signing up for a bunch of guaranteed money. But good grief, he doesn't even look the same. When he's got the ball in his hands, he does not have the same pop. He doesn't have the same explosion that you normally see out of Zeke. I guess he knows they're not going to win any games, so he's checking out. But 10 carries for 32 yards and 1 catch for 7, that ain't going to do it, homie. Amari Cooper, though, he had a nice day. 6 catches, 112 and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 5 for 21. Michael Gallup, nobody started him. 6 for 41. Washington won the time of possession battle by 12 minutes. Washington had the ball almost an entire quarter more than the Cowboys did.
Yeah, man, they're just not a good football team. And like you said, Elliott, I have him on one of my teams, and
same.
He's stashed on the bench right now. You can't really do
I
much
thought
with him. You know.
he fell to the 6th overall pick in the first round this year for
Yeah.
me, and I thought I stole him.
Guess you can't really drop him, but I mean, he's just kind of sitting there collecting dust on your bench. So, yeah, I mean, like you said, 32 yards, and he lost a fumble too. So, I mean, there's negative.
He's lost 4 or 5 fumbles this year.
-2, and he did have a 20-yard run, get called back on a holding penalty, but I mean, that would only put him at 52 yards with a fumble. So, I mean, he's just not having a good year. I don't even know how many touchdowns he has. Not many. I didn't even look, but it's only a few.
I don't want to. It'll just depress me.
Yeah, so if you drafted him, yeah, and he was definitely probably a first-round pick in most people's leagues, and I'm pretty sure he'll be falling pretty fast next year. So we'll see. I don't know. I guess they'll get Dak back next year, but I think Zeke's packed it in this year, man. I don't think he knows they're not going to win many games, and he's not out there trying too hard.
He's done.
Yeah.
Now, in a more upbeat note, talking about a player that we both love, the Chargers lost to the Bills by 10, 17 to 27. Our boy Justin Herbert, listen to how good he is. He threw for 316 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. This was his first game without multiple passing touchdowns since weeks 2 and 3, the first 2 that he started. And even in those games, he still had over 300 yards passing. Even when he's bad, he's still good. I love him. Austin Eckler came back, and he came back in a very Austin Eckler way. 14 carries for 44 yards, 11 catches for 85 yards. They really did a great job of scheming him into the game plan. And I wasn't sure how that was going to turn out because Herbert likes to throw the ball deep. He likes to put some air underneath it, but he had no problem checking down to Austin Eckler, who ran I know he was top 3 in routes run by running backs this past week. Josh Kelly did vulture a touchdown from him. Hunter Henry produced again, 6 catches for 67 yards. And Keenan Allen got the Tre'Davious White treatment, so he only had 4 catches for 40 yards, but he did find the end zone.
Yeah, man, Herbert just continues to shine, I guess, in the NFL, man. I mean, he's definitely going to be Rookie of the Year at this point with Burrow going down.
Watch out for Justin Jefferson, man. If he
I know, strong, that's true.
Got a shot.
So I saw today Herbert's got the highest quarterback rating under pressure by a rookie since 2010. So teams like to blitz Herbert, but he's got a 110.2 rating against pressure. So he's lighting it up, man. So kid knows how to read defenses, and he makes some mistakes, but I mean, not as many as you would think a rookie would make. I mean, he does make a few here and there, but
it makes like the throw to Keenan Allen in the end zone was perfect. I mean, there was nothing crazy, but it was just behind the defense. He led Keenan Allen away from the defender. It was the only place the ball could be. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and Eckler coming back, I mean, you have to definitely start him in your leagues because he had 16 targets, 85 receiving yards, like you said, and 44 yards on the ground. So, I mean, that was a good game to come back. I mean, he's been out for a while. I mean, to come back and get, almost 130 total yards and get those targets, I mean, he's definitely got to be a guaranteed start. I guess Herbert. But to me, man, Anthony Lynn, I think –
terrible play calling.
Yeah, I was going to say at this point, I was watching the end of this game, and I just don't know what he was doing because, I mean, they were down, and then they had a 4th and 27.
2 scores, down 2 scores.
Yeah, and what did he do? They got a 4th and 27, and then they ran up, they spiked the ball, and then they ran it with no timeouts. I mean, it just doesn't.
They ran it from the 3-yard line. You're right, no timeouts. Yeah. And if you don't get in the end zone there, then that's it. Game's over. There's no way you can win.
I think he might have lost his job at that point with that clock management. I know earlier in the game, when that was going on, the announcers were talking about how he took some like weird timeouts earlier in the game as well, Jake just burning timeouts. So I don't know. To me, he's just like what they have. He's just like the most unaggressive coach I've ever seen. Like I don't know. He doesn't really like.
He likes throwing end zone fades. I give him that.
Yeah, he throws end zone fades. That's about. I mean, and then
that's what he should have done then. If you're ever going to throw one, do it then.
But I don't know, man. He might have. Man, they just keep losing games, and it stinks because Herbert. I mean, he's having a great year, but this kid has only won like a few games. But well, I guess they'll get it together. But he might be looking for a job too.
Yeah, you're probably right, and rightfully so. For the Bills, Josh Allen is such a streaky player. This week he only threw for 157 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 pick. But he did have 32 yards rushing and a rushing score. Devin Singletary comes out of nowhere, 11 carries, 82 yards, and 3 for 20. but he did lose a fumble, kind of his bugaboo this year. Zach Moss, 9 carries, 59 yards. They both average over 6.5 yards a carry. But I'm hoping the Bills go to the run a little more to close out the season. So you might be able to fit those into a flex spot if you need it for these past couple or these last few weeks. Stephon Diggs, only 39 yards receiving, but he had 7 catches. So that helps you out in that PPR. Cole Beasley, only 2 for 25. Now, he usually performs when John Brown is out. And obviously John Brown was out this week, but that didn't happen. He did throw a touchdown, though, to rookie Gabriel Davis, 3 for 79 and a touchdown for Mr. Davis, who he may end up having doing pretty good out there in Buffalo. He's pretty talented.
Yeah, that kid is good. Like you said, I mean, Allen just kind of – you never know what you're going to get from him each week. He had a huge start to this season, and then he kind of fell off for a while, and now he's kind of just up and down every week. Never really know what you're going to get from him, but – you know, he does get those rushing yards here and there. And I don't know. It's just tough to kind of lean on anybody from the Bills. I mean, besides Diggs, I guess I played Diggs in one of my teams. And I think he had 1 target. I think he did all his work in the second half because I think I checked my team or I checked my matchup and I think he had 0 points at halftime. So I was looking to see if he got hurt or something like that because I wasn't really watching it in the first half. And then, I guess he started picking it up in the second half, but still not a huge game from him. I guess he got you 10 points, but, you know, you would expect a little more, I guess, from him against the Chargers. But I don't know. Bills win games, and, you know, I'm sure they'll make the playoffs. And like you said, it probably would be the best if they were to start pounding the ball a little more with those 2 running backs, I mean, as you're headed into the playoffs. So we'll see how they handle it, I guess.
Now, another AFC matchup, the Titans beat down on the Colts. And it just felt like the Titans and their real-life Titan, Derrick Henry, they were in control from the get-go. Tannehill, only 13 of 22. Okay, so he only threw 22 passes, only completed 13 of them. 221 yards, though, and 1 touchdown. Derrick Henry, 27 carries. So he ran the ball more than Tannehill threw it for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's so good. He's the complete package as a runner. And we thought the Washington football team with, 36 rushes to 27 passes?
Yeah.
How about 45 rushes to 22 passes for the Tennessee Titans? And they outrushed – they were rushing yards and passing yards as well, 229 to 220. A.J. Brown, such a stud. Yeah. Only 4 catches. We had 98 yards and a touchdown. Last week, he decided to run over half of the team he was playing to score his touchdown. This week, he just outran everybody. Catches a little 4-yard slant, and that was it, man. Nobody was going to catch him. And a big old goose egg for Jonnu Smith. So thanks for that. As far as the Colts go, Phillip Rivers, 295, 2-1. So decent day fantasy-wise, I guess, if you had to start him. But some passes, man. If you watch that game, some of his passes look like he threw them left-handed. They were very ugly. And with Jonathan Taylor out with COVID, Nyheim Hines was the lead, quote, back, 10 carries for 29 yards. But he doubled the next highest receiver in catches by grabbing 8 balls for 66 yards. Jacoby Brissett did steal 2 rushing touchdowns. For some reason, they decided when they got inside the 2-yard line that Jacoby Brissett was going to be the quarterback and run him in Cam Newton style. Yeah. We had a T.Y. Hilton sighting, if you believe that. He had his first touchdown catch of the whole season, 4 catches for 81 yards. Trey Burton got another touchdown. And then Michael Pittman, who was probably one of the biggest waiver wire ads last week, only 2 for 28. But I might hop back on that Pittman train this week because I believe the Colts play the Texans, and that's just a nice matchup.
Yeah, Pittman still had 9 targets. So, I mean, that's still pretty good looks. I mean, didn't do much with it, but, I mean, it might just be – a 1-week thing. I think he'll hop back in on it. I think they're going to start targeting him a lot more. He had a big game, I guess, last week. And
especially because a lot of people have been talking about Will Fuller getting suspended. But Bradley Roby, the number 1 cover corner for the Texans, also got suspended. So all your number 1 receivers against the Texans get a big upgrade.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on Pittman yet. I think we'll give it another week at least against the Texans. But to me, man, this game didn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, the Colts beat the Packers last week in a good game, and then they come out and lose by 19 to the Titans, who are a good team, but I thought it was going to be a little better of a game than what it was, man. This was kind of just the Derrick Henry show. Dude had 140 yards at halftime. think he had 17 carries for 140 at halftime. So, yeah, the guy's a robot, man. I don't know, hard to tackle, and man, he gets better as the year goes on, man. So it's just crazy.
This is Derrick Henry time right now, man.
I was going to say it's Derrick Henry's season. So I looked up a little stat here. So it said in weeks 1 through 11, he's got 50 career games in weeks 1 through 11 with 4.37 yards per carry with 22 touchdowns, which is pretty good numbers right here. But then it says from week 12 on, he averages 5.6 yards a carry, and he has 25 touchdowns in only 23 games. So I guess dude just turns it on, man. Like we've talked about before, it's that.
It's impressive.
And, yeah, I mean, shoot, the guy's got he's got 3 more touchdowns in half the amount of games. It's crazy, man. I don't know, man. I wouldn't be wanting to play the Titans if he's gonna start doing this again. So
they're setting themselves up for a nice playoff push.
Yeah, man. He single-handedly carried them last year into the playoffs. I mean, and playoffs and beyond. So, yeah, they might be looking for kind of what they did last year. We'll see what happens, but I don't know. The Colts kind of let me down this week. I thought they were turning things around with that big win against the Packers. But man, yeah, I guess not. I know they had DeForest Buckner was out. I mean, I don't know if he would have stopped Derrick Henry, but it might have helped a little bit.
We've already seen the 300-pound defensive lineman on the ground.
Yeah, so but man, that's tough. But
now the next game, a lot better to watch. It was the Panthers lost to the Vikings 27-28 in a heartbreaker. Going in the fourth quarter, Carolina was up 21-10. But Kirk Cousins, of all people, orchestrates a game-winning drive. Bridgewater was 19 for 36, not very efficient. 267 yards, 1 touch, 1 pick. Mike Davis, probably his last game, unless McCaffrey comes back and gets hurt again. But he gets you 55 yards rushing, 3 catches for 24 yards. Definitely not getting a C-Mac workload. But, again, he's probably going to head back to the bench following their bye when Christian McCaffrey is healthy, hopefully. Robbie Anderson, nice game, 4 for 94 and a nice long touchdown. Curtis Samuel went 5 for 72. DJ Moore, 4 for 61, got hurt at the end of the game. No idea how serious it is. The Panthers don't really seem to know how serious it is either. Cool stat from this one, Jeremy Chin, rookie safety / linebacker for the Panthers, 2 fumble recoveries for touchdowns in back-to-back Minnesota Vikings plays. That has never before happened in NFL history. Some guy in like 1948 scored 2 defensive touchdowns in the same quarter, but this was the first time it ever happened in back-to-back plays. Still, somehow, Minnesota wins the game. And a big part of that was because of Mr. Cousins. 34 for 45, the most pass attempts he's had all year, 307 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was like the 3rd highest scoring quarterback in the league this week. And Dalvin, thank goodness, because Dalvin Cook only had 82 total yards and no trips to the end zone. 4 guys on their team had 7 catches. It's not a very Vikings-like game where they just want to hand the ball off and run all the time. Justin Jefferson, he's probably second right now to Herbert in Rookie of the Year since Joe Burrow went down. 7 catches, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns with Adam Thielen being out. Olabisi Johnson, 7 for 74. Kyle Rudolph had a resurrection here, 7 catches for 68 yards. And Chad Beebe, 7 catches as well, 63 yards, and the game-winning touchdown. Good for you, Chad Beebe.
Yeah, I mean, this was a kind of a surprising game. I mean, it was a better game than most people would have thought if you would have said, you know what I'm saying, we're going to watch Vikings-Panthers today.
Yeah.
Only if you're a fan of one of those teams would you probably tune into this one. But it was a good game. And like you said, Cousins, I mean, he ended up with some good stats, and he only had 84 yards at halftime. So he did majority of his work in the second half and led them to a victory. And Jefferson, like you said, I mean, man, I love Jefferson, and I wanted our Eagles to pick him, and we overlooked him, and we got that one wrong again. So
what they do.
Kid's a stud, man, LSU.
Man, the one thing I like most about him is I heard him in an interview just recently, and he said that every game he plays, whoever he is covering him, he tries to learn from them. So he goes back and he watches film, and he figures out what he needs to do as far as his game goes in order to improve versus every cornerback that he plays against. So all this success as a rookie isn't going through his head. He's trying every week to get better, and I love that.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, the kid's a student of the game. Yeah, I mean, that's how you become one of the best in the league. You know, you can rely on your natural ability, but if you're not putting in the work, I guess you'll never elevate yourself to that next level. And I mean, he's going to do that. So when I looked it up, he's the only Odell Beckham and Anquan Bolden are the only two receivers to have more yards than Justin Jefferson in their first 11 games as a rookie. So, yeah, pretty good company, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he's only going to get better. Cousins seems to be playing pretty good lately. I know they were out Adam Thielen, so that was a
Didn't matter.
big hit, but they still won the game. So I'm going to keep riding the Vikings. I think they're going to make the playoffs somehow, and they pulled one out. I mean, the Panthers not a pretty win, but hey, win's a win in the NFL by 1 point or 10. Doesn't matter. And the Panthers at this point, I don't even know why you would bring McCaffrey back. Just kind of shut him down. I mean, what's the point of bringing him back? You know what I'm saying at this point? I don't know. But I'm sure fantasy people don't want to hear that. But I don't know. As a coach, I mean, I don't know why you would want to go out there and risk getting him hurt again. You know what I'm saying?
Just paid him.
That's true. He can earn his money next year, I guess. This year ain't going to do much.
Well, you said a surprising game, and this one we're about to talk about also surprised me. The Browns barely beat a Mike Glennon-led Jaguars team 27-25, and it's exactly why we have been saying that Cleveland is not a very good team despite being 8-3.
Yeah.
Now, Mayfield looked a little better. He went 258-2, but he still missed wide open receivers. Nick Chubb, 19 carries, 144 yards, and a touchdown. He's played in 7 games, including the game he got injured, and has 5 100-yard rushing days, 5 of 7, and he got injured in 1, so toss that one out. He's one of the best pure running backs in the league, man. He looks so good. And, I mean, we got Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, and Nick Chubb as far as pure running backs go. Now, obviously, Kamar's ridiculous and McCaffrey's ridiculous, but I wouldn't say they're pure runners. They do a lot more catching balls out of the backfield and running routes and things like that. But man, and then Chubb also had 3 catches for 32 yards, which that he's not usually used too much in the passing game. Now Kareem Hunt, 0 catches, so I'm sure this is just a blip on the radar and probably won't happen anymore. However, as a Nick Chubb owner, I will take it. Now Jarvis Landry had a huge day, 8 catches, 143 yards and a touchdown. For some reason, Jacksonville decided not to cover him. So 143, his yardage total. 88, 61, and 52 were his 3 highest yardage totals for the year previously. So, I mean, he blew those out of the water. And Austin Hooper, only 2 catches, but he did have a touchdown in those. Now, not much to say about the Jags. Glennon, 235 for 2 touchdowns and no picks. I mean, that's about as good as you could ever hope for with Mike Glennon starting for you if you're Jacksonville. James Robinson, smartly, they gave him the ball a lot, 28 total touches, 128 rushing yards and a touchdown, 31 receiving yards on 5 catches. Colin Johnson, I think he's a rookie, if my memory serves me right. Big receiver, tall for them. And he had the best day of any of the receivers with DJ Chark sitting out, 4 catches, 96 yards and a touchdown. And he was the only receiver with double-digit fantasy points.
Yeah, Johnson, he's a big kid. I think he's from Texas, University of Texas. Yeah.
Yes, he is now.
He's huge. Yeah, he's like 6'6". Yeah. I didn't even know he was on that team. But, yeah, when I watched some of the highlights, I saw him catching a few balls. And, I mean, James Robinson, to me, he's one of my, biggest surprises, I guess, of this year. I mean, that kid.
He's got to be rookie in the Rookie of the Year talk as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be in the top 3 or 4 for Rookie of the Year. I mean, because this kid produces every week. And
I think he's starting the league in rushing yards.
And they're a bad team, man. And the Jaguars are purposely trying to get the number 1 pick, and this guy's going out there and rushing for 100, almost 130 yards. I mean,
ruining for him.
Yeah, at least they're still losing. I mean, I'm sure they're happy about it, but I mean, shoot, kid's putting up some stats. But like you said, Chubb,
whatever scout was like, hey,
I was gonna say
we need to get this James Robinson guy from wherever he's from. I don't even remember.
I don't even know where he's from, but yeah, that guy needs a raise. Whoever told them to sign him, because the kid's turned into quite the stud there. And if they can end up with Lawrence or Fields, I mean, to pair him with Robinson, I mean, there's your duo, your backfield, I guess, for the next.
And DJ Chark's still young. This is only his 2nd year in the league.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, they got a nice pairing there, but. Like you said, man, the Browns, they just win these kind of ugly games. They're 8-3. I mean, I'm sure they're probably. I mean, if they're 8-3, they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know how far they're going to go with Mayfield because he's kind of he's hot and cold. I don't know. He just kind of you just never know with him. I think he's on that Carson Wentz train with like he misses so many throws, but at least his team wins. I guess he has Nick Chubb, so and they actually hand him the ball, and that kid's another stud. Man, he come off that injury too. I mean, he just went right back after it because he had that knee injury, right? He had a knee injury, and I mean, they thought he might have missed the rest of, at first they thought he was going to miss like the rest of the season. And then, he misses 5-6 weeks and comes back. And I mean, just nobody can stop the guy. So, I mean, man, he's tough. And I like some Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry. I don't think you can get too high on him. This was a good game, but I think the Jaguars, like we said, the Jaguars are a pretty bad team, and I think they were missing like 2 or 3 cornerbacks on a bad defense. So
yeah,
they're out there playing with practice squad cornerbacks. So I wouldn't get too high on Landry.
No, I agree, and you're right. And before we move on to the next game, I misspoke. This is Chark's third season in the NFL. He's drafted in 2018.
Still young.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially receivers, they can play a little longer. But the next game, I can't imagine more than 20 or 30 people watched it. The Giants against the Bengals. It's 19-17 win for the Giants. A hard-fought battle of bad teams. Daniel Jones had very little stats. The bigger story for him is that he went out with a hamstring injury, and they're not sure about the severity of that. The way he was moving around, I can't imagine he's going to play this week. So Colt McCoy is stepping in for him. Wayne Gallman, I think even when Devontae Freeman comes back, they might allow Wayne Gallman to continue to be the lead back because he's been doing okay. 24 carries, 94 yards, not real efficient, but he's finding the end zone. He scored again. Evan Ingram had a big day before Daniel Jones went down. 6 catches for 129, easily the most receiving yards he's had this year. Sterling Shepard, typical, 7 catches, but only 64 yards. Kind of his thing. Brandon Allen, quarterback for the Bengals. If you've never heard of him, that's fine. Not many people have. 136 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. That seems like half the quarterbacks in the league threw for 1 touchdown and 1 pick this week. Gio Bernard not doing a great job with his lead back role, with Joe Mixon being out. 8 carries, 32 yards, only 2 catches for 17. And T. Higgins, really the only receiver that did anything. He only had 5 catches for 44 yards, but he did catch a touchdown pass from Brandon Allen. I mean, good luck to the Bengals players. The Bengals defense was very bend but don't break. The Giants more than doubled the Bengals total yardage, 386 to 155. The Bengals had 155 total yards. That's embarrassing. But they only gave up 19 points and only lost by 2. So, I mean, if you're going to take a positive from this game and you're Cincinnati, it's your defense. They bent a lot, but they didn't break very much.
Yeah, I mean, they still lost the game by 2 points. You'd think the Giants would win by at least a touchdown or so in this game. But
sure.
But man, yeah, I think Daniel Jones. I think ESPN reported it just said he's going to miss some time. So,
thanks.
I guess he's out at least a week. I wouldn't imagine he would play this week. So, Colt McCoy, good luck with him in there. But man, I don't know. Like, not much to talk about with the Bengals. Higgins, like you said, was probably the only bright spot. I know he caught that garbage time touchdown there at the end, which kind of salvaged your fantasy day. I mean, 5 for 44 is going to get you 9 points, but the touchdown really kind of makes it a better day if you're starting T. Higgins. AJ Green had 0 catches, and my man Tyler Boyd had 3 for 15. So, yeah, man, they're just stashing
R.I.P. Bengals receivers.
Yeah, they're collecting dust with Zeke on the bench. So, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, I mean, like you said, this game was just kind of rough. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. Watched a few highlights. Saw Darius Slayton drop a couple passes like always. Ingram had a big game, like you said. And I don't know. I think the Giants, aren't they leading the NFC East at this point? And I don't know. I think they might be tied, or I don't know. Either
Redskins, them and the I don't know.
Washington, yeah. Bengals had 66 yards at halftime. So, yeah, tough to watch. Brendan Allen's just not a good quarterback. So, good luck.
Moving on. The Cardinals. Gosh, the Cardinals lost 17-20 against the New England Patriots. Last week, I said that the Pats were such a weird team, And here they go, proving me right yet again. I have no idea how they beat the Cardinals, especially with their terrible showing. But the Patriots only averaged 3.5 yards a play. 3.5. That has to be. I looked it up. I kind of glanced around. That has to be the lowest yards per play of any team this week. I mean, maybe it's not, but Cam Newton was 9 for 18, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 46 rushing yards. Gosh, what a terrible stat line. And he's so bad at being a quarterback in real life. Now, I know he doesn't have a whole lot of guys to throw to, but I mean, he still doesn't – it's like Carolina. He still doesn't look like he cares. Belichick should just cut him. I mean, he won't because they're actually in a playoff hunt, but they might as well because I'm not sure Cam Newton's really doing a whole lot to help you win games here. Damian Harris, he looks pretty good. He's probably the best running back they have. 14 carries for 47 yards, which isn't exciting. But James White comes back with his best game of the year, probably 2 touchdowns. He only had 5 carries for 18 yards, but he did find the end zone twice. Only 3 guys caught a pass. James White, Damiere Byrd, and Jacoby Myers. Myers actually hit double-digit points in a PPR league, 5 for 52. But I can't play. I get Cam Newton in our league, our B&B's Football Happy Hour league. I can't play him anymore. And sure, he's probably going to blow up for like 25, 30 points this week. I just don't see how I can continue putting him in. And Kyler Murray disappointed as well. Only 170 yards passing. No touchdowns for Kyler Murray. 1 pick and only 31 rushing yards, which is not very Kyler Murray-like. 8.9 points. So thanks for that. Do you know his next lowest game was 20 points? He scored 20.26 points. And he gave you 8. Kenyon Drake, 22 carries and a workhorse load, only 78 yards, but 2 touchdowns. He hasn't been efficient all year. So that's probably about what he's going to do for you. You just got to hope he finds the end zone. DeAndre Hopkins only went 5 for 55, and not much else on a day when Kyler Murray only throws for 170 yards.
Yeah, tough 2 weeks for Murray here. I mean, he hasn't played good in the last couple of weeks. I know.
At least he had a decent fantasy day. I mean, last week he had 20 points still.
Last week, it looked like he had that. I know we talked about he had that. I don't know. It looked like he hurt his shoulder or something like that, and he just didn't look that great in this game either against the Patriots. But, man, I got him on a few of my teams. I need him to figure it out because I need him and Hopkins to start doing a little bit more than what they're doing right now. So they got to figure it out, man. And this offensive guru of a coach needs to figure it out as well because I think they only have – I thought I read they had like 600 yards in the past 2 weeks with 38 points. I mean, that's just not gonna cut it if you're trying to win that NFC West, man. I don't know. They need to figure it out, but we'll see what happens. I know they play the Eagles coming up in a couple of weeks, so they'll right the ship there, I'm sure. So
it'll be a good win.
That'll be a good week for all of them, I'm sure. So they'll get back to get that confidence level up. And like you said, the Patriots. Surprisingly, they're still in a playoff hunt, I guess you can call it. But Cam Newton, like you said, man, just I just don't know what to say about Cam. I mean, I'm not a huge Cam Newton fan, and I thought he would do a little better than what he's doing. I mean, this guy's got four passing touchdowns, and he's played – I mean, he was out 1 game, right, with COVID, right? And, I mean, he might set the record for, like, most games played and fewest touchdown passes. I mean, this guy's going to play – 15 games and have like 5 touchdown passes. That's just ridiculous.
He has 3 touchdown. He has 3 more touchdown passes than Cole Beasley.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I just don't get it. I know he has a lot of. I mean, he's got some rushing touchdowns, but I mean, he's a quarterback. Like you should be able to. Yeah. Sure. I mean, at this point, you should have at least like 9 or 10. I don't know. I mean,
maybe I should just leave him in my starting lineup just for a good laugh.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not a huge Cam guy, but. No. I don't know. They're tough to play anybody on the Patriots because you never know what they're going to do week to week.
I'll tell you what, man. At least you're not a Jets fan because, I mean, you haven't been good since Mark Sanchez was your quarterback, and Mark Sanchez was your quarterback. So that probably wasn't even too fulfilling winning games with him there. They lost 20-3 against the Dolphins, and our boy Fitzmagic. He comes back and plays fine. He plays good. 257 and 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Washington was the lead running back for the Dolphins. not Matt Breida. 13 carries for 49 yards. Breida only had 8 carries, 36 yards. They each had 2 catches for single-digit yards. Didn't really matter. And Fitzmagic and Devontae Parker's love was on full display. 8 catches for 119 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick is Devontae Parker's secret sauce, man. He loves going to him. Mm-hmm. And no one else caught more than 3 passes, and no one received more than 35 yards. Mike Gesicki and Adam Shaheen ended up with the touchdowns for Ryan. And then the Jets, Sam Darnold came back disappointingly, 197, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Frank Gore, old man workhorse, 18 carries, 74 yards, 3 catches, another 12. I mean, the dude's getting 20 touches a game. I guess you could do worse in your flex. It's just so crazy.
Yeah,
I think Frank Gore was my first-round draft pick in like 2005, and he's still getting 20 touches a game. It's unreal. I love it. Good for him. Brashad Perriman and Denzel Mims each had 4 catches, 79 yards and 67 yards respectively. Jameson Crowder only 3 for 31. We really thought he was going to have a better game with Darnold back, but just didn't happen for him. Oh, and the Jets D could not get off the field. Miami was 8 for 16 on third downs. 50% of Miami's third downs they were able to convert, and the Jets were only 3 of 13 on third down.
Yeah, I'm not going to say I watched a whole lot of this game either, but
no,
this wasn't on my docket for games on Sunday. But the Jets are tanking. I mean, that's everybody knows they're trying to lose. They're probably going to go 0-16. I don't know who they're going to beat. I don't know the rest of their schedule, but I can't see them.
Do they play the Ravens? Because I know the Dolphins.
I think they got to play the Patriots again.
It was like their only win, and the Dolphins ended up beating the Ravens a few years ago. It's their only win one year, I think.
Yeah, I know they got to play the Patriots again, but I don't know the other 4 games. But I mean, they're trying to get the number 1 pick, so not much to say. Frank Gore, like you said, the ageless wonder. I think doesn't Frank Gore have a kid in college? Right? I think he plays college football, so like he's going to be starting over his son. I think in like 2 years. So
no way.
His son's going to be in the league, and he's going to get benched for like his 40-year-old dad. I don't know. So. But like you said, I mean, you could do worse. I mean, 74 yards, 18 carries. I mean, at least he's getting the load. I mean,
you're right. He's getting that game, that's for sure.
It's crazy. I mean, in a game where you're getting your butts kicked pretty much the whole game, I mean, he still gets 18 carries. That's kind of, it's good. I mean, you could do worse.
Doug Peterson should take notes there.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, with the Dolphins, I guess with Fitzmagic playing, Devontae Parker becomes a viable option if you need to play him because, like you said, he likes to target Devontae Parker. So I guess they're going to roll with Fitzmagic and leave Tua on the bench. They gave him a few weeks and it didn't look so hot. So see what happens. I guess Fitzmagic might be playing for another job next year, see where he goes to one of his other teams. I think he's trying to play for all 32 teams. So, I mean, he might –
he's like halfway there.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit halfway there. So, he might stick around for a couple more years, play for
Frank Gore, holding it down.
Yeah, they should just travel with each other, go to the next bad team, and keep doing it.
Now, the next game was easily, in my opinion, the most frustrating for fantasy purposes. The Raiders get spanked by the Falcons 43-6. What a disgrace for the Raiders. Atlanta's defense was the second worst against quarterbacks, the second worst against wide receivers, and the worst against tight ends. And Las Vegas puts up 6 points. 6. Derek Carr, 215 yards passing, no touchdowns, an interception, and I'm pretty sure he lost 3 fumbles. I mean, what a day. Josh Jacobs only had 10 touches for a total of 44 yards. It's only the 3rd game this season he has had less than 18 touches. Lots of people, like we talked about, were stacking Derek Carr, Nelson Aguilar this week. Aguilar got, 5 for 55, which on a day Derek Carr is one of the worst games of his career. I guess you'll take it. Henry Ruggs is not good. He has iron hands. I was not big on him when he came out. We talked about this before. I don't know. You just can't go with these one-trick ponies, these guys who are smaller and really fast. Him didn't work out. John Ross didn't work out. The only guy I can think of that is actually doing okay is Tyreek Hill. It's just even Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he's such a roller. Even in his prime, he was still such a roller coaster, and you just can't trust it. If I'm an NFL GM, I'm not taking these small, fast guys. It just doesn't pan out enough. Hunter Renfrow led the way with 7 catches for 73 yards. Darren Waller, I mean, poor guy. I feel bad for him. 4 for 23. Raiders had 11 penalties for 140 yards. And the Falcons, I mean, they didn't really do too much better despite scoring 43 points. Matt Ryan was 185, 2-1. Ito Smith and Brian Hill basically split carries, which was great because most people thought Brian Hill was going to get the lead role here. Ito ended up being the one with the touchdown. Calvin Ridley, 6 for 50 and a touch. Hayden Hurst, 4 for 48. The real hero was Younghoe Koo, who had 5 field goals and 21 fantasy points.
Yeah, man. He, I looked it up. He leads the NFL in scoring, so good for him. This game was just ugly all around. There's not much to talk about. I mean, like you said, the stats were pretty – I mean, even though they scored 43 points, I mean, none of those guys really did a whole lot. You were minus Julio Jones. You're minus Todd Gurley, and you scored 43 points, but your quarterback only throws for 185. So, I mean, it makes no sense. And the Raiders, I mean, I guess unless they play the Chiefs, they don't show up to play, man, because this game was weird. I don't know. And if they thought they were going to make the playoffs, I mean, losing to the 4-7 Falcons isn't the way to do it with an ugly loss like this. Pretty bad. I don't know, man. Gruden needs to figure that out. Derek Carr, he was just a turnover machine this whole game. We talked about him earlier. I stacked him on my daily and got like 2.3, 2 points or something like that, which is terrible. And Jacobs, I mean, you know, none of these guys did anything. Waller, nothing. Jacobs, nothing. And just an ugly game all around. And I don't know, man. I guess Falcons go to 4-7, and they're winning a few games with their interim coach as well. So we'll see what the Raiders do moving forward, but not a good look this week for sure.
While you're upset about that one, we might as well keep that train rolling because the Saints beat the Broncos 31-3, and I am still fairly perturbed about this game being played at all. Yeah. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of the Broncos quarterbacks that they sent home actually tested positive for COVID. They're sent home for being close contacts of the practice squad player, Jeff Driscoll, who was. Now, I get that the NFL wants to be harsh about COVID protocols, and the Broncos slipped up. The quarterbacks weren't wearing their masks, around the guy who did test positive. But the team didn't even have a quarterback. They started a practice squad wide receiver who hasn't taken a snap from center in like 4 years. Why couldn't they postpone the game until Monday or Tuesday? If they'd have postponed it until today, all those quarterbacks tested negative. They could have played today. But Roger Goodell, I mean, he is walking a fine line with doing like between what he should do and what he feels like doing. I get you wanted to punish the Broncos for not following the rules the right way, but this was embarrassing. The Broncos should not have been on the field. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I don't understand how you can
the Ravens game's been rescheduled
three
times this week and next week. They're continuing to reschedule these games for the Ravens and the Steelers so they get this one in, but they couldn't postpone the Broncos game a day or two.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, so you're looking at the Ravens game is going to be it's going to be played 6 days later than what it should, and this game couldn't have got pushed back a couple of days. You know what I'm saying? So you can at least have your third string quarterback play, because to me, this wasn't even really like an NFL football game. I mean, it was pretty as lopsided as it can get. I mean, this kid Hinton, he played at Wake Forest, and I think wasn't even good enough to be the starter there. He got benched at Wake Forest, and
the dude was 1 for 9 with 2 interceptions. Noah Fant caught the only pass of the game for 13 yards, and Royce Freeman was the most productive running back with 50 yards on 8 carries. I mean, this was a joke.
Yeah, I'm surprised this one got played. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, like you said, 1 for 9 is pretty bad. He had two picks, so he doubled up on interceptions and completions there, and it's not the worst he could be, though, because I think I looked at it in 1998. Ryan Leaf had a game where he went 1 for 15 for 4 yards. So I guess he could have did worse. I guess. I mean, I'll take 1 for 9 over 1 for 15. So
way to take a positive spin there.
And Taysom Hill wasn't much better. Yes. I mean, he was 9 for 16 for 78 yards. So
that might be the only other positive coming out of this game.
Yeah.
Taysom Hill is who we thought he was.
Not a quarterback.
9 for 16, 78, and a pick.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he gets 10 carries for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he can run the ball. I mean, that's kind of what he does. He's not a real quarterback, though, and he is not the successor to Drew Brees.
No.
Alvin Kamara was a huge disappointment. 54 rushing yards and 1 catch for -2. Like, come on, Taysom Hill. You have Alvin Kamara. Just throw him the ball. Give him the Christian McCaffrey treatment. Latavius Murray, who somebody started against me. I believe it was our friend of the show, Kevin, in a league we play against each other. He actually started Latavius Murray this week against me. 19 carries, 124 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Gosh. Michael Thomas, he was the only receiver who had more than 1 catch. He had 4 for 50. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, Saints win this game, but yeah, like you said, I mean, Taysom Hill's not going to be the quarterback moving forward when Drew Brees retires.
Right.
Like, I mean, the Saints, look, in the last 2 years when Drew Brees misses games, they're 7-0. So for some reason, they win every game that Drew Brees doesn't play. But I know Bridgewater did it last year, and Taysom Hill.
Bridgewater's a real quarterback.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's not. He's a glorified – I don't know what he is. I guess he's a tight end, but
so I'm in a group chat with several of our passionate listeners to the show, and one of them commented, I hate Taysom Hill way more than I ever hated Tim Tebow.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think that's a decent comparison there, except Tebow's more of a quarterback than Taysom Hill is.
Yeah, man, this game to me, I mean, my buddy he texted me and he was like, what's going on with this game? And I mean, I watched it just because it was like a train wreck. So, I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but like I watched parts of it and I'm just like, I have to tune in a little bit of it. I told him, I was like, dude, if you've ever watched like Army versus Navy, this is pretty much Army versus Navy with NFL uniforms on, because
You're right. Good call.
I think there was 77 running plays in this whole game. I was like, yeah, it's like watching Army Navy with Saints and Broncos uniforms on. That's basically what this was. Pretty crazy. I mean, to me, this isn't even like an NFL game. I don't know. Just crazy. Broncos kind of got – yeah, like you said, I think this was just a punishment from Goodell because, you know, they're not following the rules. So game should have got postponed and at least let, I don't know, one of those second or third string guys play. And they got their butts kicked, and rightfully so, because that kid, I mean, had no right being a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know this week, but hey, he did his thing, and you know, I'm sure he'll be back to the practice squad.
Yep. Now moving on to the Niners and the Rams. 49ers beat the Rams 23-20. Nick Mullins didn't help out too much here. 252 yards, no touchdowns, and 1 pick. Dude, the Niners really needed a decent quarterback because, I mean, Raheem Mostert came back, 16 carries in his first game back from injury, 43 yards and a touchdown. Jeff Wilson also came back from injury, 12 carries for 43 yards. Deebo Samuel came back from injury. I mean, dude, the 49ers are really dealing with some injuries, and Deebo crushed it, 11 catches for 133 yards. And of the other 7 guys who caught a pass, no one had more than 3 catches or 34 yards. Now, Jared Goff, I mean, he was actually outdueled by Nick Mullins. 198 yards for him, no touchdowns, and 2 picks. So Nick Mullins, if you had to pick a quarterback, that's the guy you're going for. The 49ers, they did a good job of making Jared Goff go to his second read, and Jared Goff can't do that. So it was kind of an easy win. If you can make Jared Goff not throw to his first read in a route combo, then you're going to win that ball game most days. Cam Akers was the only good running back of the bunch. Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, they didn't really do much. Akers had 9 carries, 84 yards, 61 of those yards, or one of the carries, and a touchdown. Hopefully he took the lead role there. He definitely is the most talented of the bunch. And Robert Woods went 7 for 80. Cooper Kupp only 2 for 41.
Yeah, this was another weird game, I guess, for me. I mean, you would think this game, the Rams, you know, being in that tough divisional race, that they'd come out and play a little better than they did, but old Kyle Shanahan's 4-0 against Sean McVay the last 2 years. So I think he's got old McVay's number. He's got him figured out. And Jared Goff, at this point, I just don't think he's good at football. He had 2 picks and a fumble. That defense is good. I'll give him that. I mean, Aaron Donald's an absolute beast. I mean, the defense played good. I mean, look, Jalen Ramsey, I guess he's earning his money, I guess you could say. But Aaron Donald's a stud, and you know the defense is going to carry him in some games. But I mean, come playoff time, if they make the playoffs, I'm not thrilled with Goff back there because he's going to blow the game. I mean, you can't count on him. So
Aaron Donald's leading the league in sacks, and he gets double teamed or triple teamed every play.
Yeah, every play.
Every
And
play.
he's a defensive tackle, so that's hard to do. You know what I'm saying? He's not even an edge rusher or anything. So
And there's so many plays that don't go in the stat sheets where he is in the backfield. He's
mm-hmm.
the quarterback to lead the pocket. He's forcing throw incomplete passes that you're not going to see show up in the stats, but he is worth every penny that he is ever going to make and more.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I mean, I'd rather maybe the Rams. I mean, I'd rather just have them roll with Akers because I mean, he looks like he's got some skill. He's a rookie, so let's see what he can do. I mean, I'm tired of like the 3-headed deal that they got going on there. Just let that kid play and see what happens. But
I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah, Robert Woods. I mean, he had a decent week, 7 for 80, I think he had. So you're getting 15 points from him, and he had a big one last week. So maybe he's the lead receiver, but I don't know. Like you said, it's hard to tell with him and Cooper Kupp every week. So tough to tell.
Now, next one, good game. Chiefs beat out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-24. There's almost 1,000 yards of total offense between the teams. Patty Mahomes, 37 of 49, 462 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mr. NFL MVP, here you go, buddy. You might as well just take that trophy and walk. We thought it was Russell Wilson, maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Tom Brady at times. No. It is Patty Mahomes. Got to be. He also had 28 rushing yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, only 37 yards rushing, so barely more than Mahomes. And Tyreek Hill is like a video game. 13 catches, 269 yards, and all 3 of Mahomes' touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 8 catches, 82 yards. He does it every week, and that's it. This team is a 3-man band. It's Mahomes, it's Hill, it's Kelce, and what an astonishing 3-man band that is. Now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I almost said Tampa Bay. Good grief! I got to quit. It's a part of the media now, and I'm falling into these traps. But they've lost 3 straight games. Brady had 345 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, but he also had 2 picks. Yep. He's at 8 picks in his last 4 games. Only 13 rushing attempts as a team. Ronald Jones went 9 for 66, and he had 1 catch for 37 yards and a very impressive touchdown. Gronkowski, 6 catches for 106. Kind of, okay, Gronk, I hear you. Mm-hmm. Godwin, 8 for 97. And in typical Mike Evans fashion, he only has 3 catches, but 2 of them found the end zone. Mike Evans is so infuriating.
He's another one hard to figure out.
He's not getting catches. He's not getting yards, but every time Brady throws him the ball, it's in the end zone. So whatever.
Yeah, it's tough. I don't think they've won a game since Antonio Brown's came on their team, so maybe they need to get rid of him because he's not really working out. 2 for 11. Just get rid of the guy. He's not doing much out there.
I mean, he was doing good the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
7 catches, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, this one's tough. I mean, Tampa Bay's doing – I mean, man, they've played a ton of close games, and Brady just can't seem to figure out how to win these close ones. I mean, these last couple weeks he's having some turnover trouble, I guess you could say, in his eyes. But it was good to see Gronk get back. He kind of looked a little bit spunkier than I guess he's looked earlier this year. But
Phillip Rivers has done better throwing deep passes than Tom Brady.
Yeah,
and that tells you all you need to know about Tom Brady's deep ball.
Yeah, I mean, every time the dude throws the ball like 20 yards, it's getting picked off. So I don't know. It's just not good. But the numbers look okay, 345, but, it just doesn't play. Like when you're watching the game, it just doesn't – I don't know. The numbers don't equal like the play on the field. You know what I'm saying? So he's struggling, man. And like you said, Mahomes, for me, I mean, he's definitely the MVP at this point. This dude had 360 yards at halftime. I mean, Tyreek Hill.
He's the best guy. He's so good.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill had 203 yards in the first quarter. I mean, that's unreal.
I know.
So Tyreek Hill was on pace for 800 yards last week, but fell a little bit short of that. But, I mean, still had a huge game. 203 yards in the first quarter is unreal, man. And I thought Mahomes – so I looked it up. I mean, during the game, I looked it up. When I saw he had 359 at halftime, I was like, what's the most passing yards ever in NFL history? And it's only 554 yards, which is kind of – to me, I thought it would be more. But
I wonder what it is in a half.
Yeah, I didn't look it up what it is in a half, but I was like, well, damn, he only needs 195 yards to break, 196 yards to break that record. And I don't know, they kind of laid off the throttle, I guess, a little bit. He only had 103 yards in the second half. So I don't
That's
know.
impressive.
They won the game, man, and the Chiefs are tough. Going to be tough to beat in the playoffs. And like you said, they got, when you have Tyreek Hill, you have Kelsey, and you have Mahomes, especially with them having that playoff experience, winning the Super Bowl. I mean, they're going to be tough to beat again this year. I
Yeah.
don't really see anybody beating them, I guess, in the AFC. I know Pittsburgh's undefeated, but I don't think they have a shot at beating Kansas City. They're the best team, I think, in football right now, and only getting better as the season goes on to me because, Mahomes, he was doing good earlier in the year, but, he's starting to really light it up, I think, moving forward. And, yeah, they're going to be tough to beat, man. And I think my only grief, I guess, on the Chiefs is Honey Badger had an interception on Tom Brady, and this dude slid before he got to Tom Brady. He could have truck sticked Tom Brady into the ground, and he slid in front of Tom Brady. So they might need to take his
Respect for the GOAT.
They might
Respect for the GOAT.
Yeah, they might need to take his man card away for a few weeks because he could have buried old Tommy into the ground, and this dude baseball slides in front of him. So to me, that was kind of funny, but I don't know. We'll see what the Bucs do, man. We'll see what happens. See if they can sneak into the playoffs.
In a much less exciting game, the Packers whooped up on the Bears 41-25. And remember when we said several weeks ago that the Bears were a terrible 5-1 team?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've lost 5 straight since we said that. And yes, my friend, they are. Mr. Trubisky looked the same as always. Not good. 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. David Montgomery comes back from injury and had his best game of the year, 11 carries for 103 yards and 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. That doesn't make sense. No matter who the quarterback is, Allen Robinson is the man. 8 catches, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns. For the Packers, this win, this was easy. They gave up no sacks. Rodgers was 21-29, 211 yards. Not a lot of yards, but 4 touchdowns. Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams each had 17 carries for 90 and 73 yards. Each with Williams getting a touchdown. Devontae Adams, 6 for 61. He finds the end zone again. Robert Tonyan, a big game from him, 5-67-1. And Alan Lazard had a touchdown, as did Mercedes Lewis. This is the second time we've talked about him. He had 2 touchdowns in the year, I think, and I didn't even know he was still alive. The Packers had the ball for a full 15 minutes more than Chicago. So they basically had an entire quarter more of possession.
Yeah, this wasn't a good game either. The Packers kind of won this one easy. They were doing whatever they wanted to do against Chicago. And like we talked about weeks ago, the Bears they're not good. They're just not good at football. And it doesn't matter if it's Nick Foles, if it's Trubisky, either one of them stink. The only bright spot that they got is Allen Robinson. That guy he does it every week, man. He's kind of like, just one of those guys that he catches. He just catches every pass you'll throw it to him, even with a Foles and a Trubisky. I think, what did he have? 13 targets this week. He only had 74 yards, but, caught 8 catches for 74 yards with 2 quarterbacks that are
not good,
below average, to be nice. And, man, the Packers, yeah, they look pretty tough, man. I wouldn't want to play the Packers because Aaron Rodgers has kind of got that look in his eye. Like he wants to go out there and, I guess, prove everybody wrong. And even though he says, he doesn't care that they drafted Jordan Love and this and that, but I think he's doing this to throw it in their face. And if you're a Packers fan, good for them because they're winning games and he is proving people wrong. To me right now, I think Aaron Rodgers is probably second in the MVP race behind Mahomes, and it's pretty close to me. To be honest, as of right now. Yeah, whoever plays better these last couple of games, I think is going to win the MVP. I think it'll be Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers. So see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. And our last game, there's not too much to talk about. Monday Night Football, Seahawks beat the Eagles 23-17. Russell Wilson, 230 yards and a touchdown. Chris Carson on his first game back looked good. He looked good to come back from injury. 8 carries, 41 yards and a touchdown. DK Metcalf, 10 catches, 177 in his revenge game. And I call it a revenge game because he is furious still that the Eagles took J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over him in the draft 2 years ago. And gosh, can you only imagine if the Eagles took DK Metcalf?
Could have him and Justin Jefferson.
I know. Gosh.
I try not to think about it, but
a couple weeks ago, I brought up to you and I was like, what kind of stat? What Carson Wentz has to be leading the NFL in terrible throws. And guess what? I was right because they had a graphic that Wentz leads the league 23% of Wentz's throws are off target. So yes, he has dealing with a lot of injuries. Yes, he has a depleted receiving core. Yes, he has a depleted offensive line, and they've given up the most sacks of anybody else in football. Now some of them are his fault. He's holding the ball too long, but he's also throwing the ball where there aren't guys.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts, he comes in, he has one throw. He fit in a tight window along the sideline. Great ball. And he gets yanked the next play so that Wentz can take a sack on the very next play. He was 215 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and a pick, one of those being a lucky Hail Mary to Richard Rodgers. Wentz did give you 42 rushing yards, and for some odd reason you started him. Miles Sanders, only 6 carries for 15 yards and 2 catches for 7. But I watched him drop 2 or 3 passes. He's got to catch these balls. I love Sanders, and he's the most talented guy on that offense, except for maybe Dallas Goedert. But I don't know. Sanders has got to hold on the ball. Speaking of Goddard, 7 for 75 and a touchdown. Richard Rodgers got that Hail Mary along with 3 catches and 53 yards, and no receiver had more than 3 catches or 16 yards. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the Seahawks defense on here, how many yards they give up in the air. And to me, the defense played decent. I mean, their defense played pretty good. They had six sacks and a pick. They played good all game. To me, I mean, the Eagles have, like we said, I mean, they just have no rhythm on offense. I don't know what they want to do. I mean, for Miles Sanders to only get 6 carries in a game, that was pretty close. I mean, the majority of the game, it was a pretty close game. I mean, it ends up being a
he can bust a touchdown at any time. Give that guy that he needs 20 touches a game, no matter what.
Yeah, and he gets sick. He gets eight touches. I know he dropped a couple passes, so he could have had, I don't know, could have been 10 or 11 or whatever, but just not enough. Carson Wentz, like you said, I mean, you can make the argument either way. I mean, when he's playing, he's just missing guys and he's just not good. But then on the other hand, I mean, he's getting sacked more than anybody in the league. I think they said this was the 10th different offensive line combo that we've had in 11 games or 12 games or whatever. So that's never good. And yeah, I mean, not much else to say, man. The Eagles just aren't a good football team. The only good thing coming out of this game is we now have the 6th pick in the draft.
6,
yeah.
Yes. All right.
And I read today that, like you said earlier, Metcalf, he has that chip on his shoulder because the Eagles didn't pick him. And then to top it off, our dummy defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz,
Calvin
walks up to him before the game and apparently says, I was in Detroit with Calvin Johnson and you're not there yet. Just to add some fuel to the fire, just so he can go out there and make Darius Slay his father because, I mean – he owns Darius Slay. I mean, Darius Slay is getting paid a ton of money, and he wants to play press man coverage against the biggest and most physical dude in the NFL right now. I mean, just good call there, Darius. But I mean,
whatever.
I don't know.
I'll take the top 6 pick though. All right.
Yeah, I'll take that.
All right. Before we head out of here, again, if you or anyone you know has a kid in diapers, go to thediaperdust.com. Check it out. Get you or your friends, your family, your loved ones, if you care about them and you care about their noses and sense of smell, please get them diaper dust. That way, nobody has to worry about smelly diapers ever again. So go ahead, take care of that. And Brian, get us out of here.
All right. Yeah, we'll have to post a link to diaper dust on our page so everybody can find that. Everybody can put that in your significant other's stocking as a stocking stuffer, maybe, good call for both parents. So get that up. And yeah, man, everybody keep following us on all the social media platforms. We'll post a video to Facebook. I guess we usually do it pretty much every Wednesday morning. It'll be up there. And then you can find us on any podcast platform, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, all the above. Tell your Alexa to play B&B's Football Happy Hour. It'll come on.
Yes.
So it's kind of hard not to listen to us. So everybody do that. Give us a follow because that only helps. Follow YouTube. Keep inviting friends to the Facebook page. And, we're still working on, I know, haven't had much luck trying to get a guest on here. I know it's a tough time of the year with the holidays. And it just takes a while to schedule stuff, and we're trying. So we'll hopefully come up with something here soon. But if not, keep listening. We're breaking down all the games and trying to give you some good fantasy insights. So everybody keep posting. I know we always have a rush of Facebook comments on Sundays about, who to start, this and that. So it's always good to see everybody's input and to go back and forth. So, keep doing that and keep inviting your friends, and we'll keep putting out our episodes every week.
Got it. We love you. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a good night. Be safe.